Kempire is brought to you by.
Do you know how important it is to rate and review a podcast? Rate and review the Kempire podcast today. 5 stars. Let us know what you love about the podcast. Rate and review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Did you know that you can watch the Kempire channel on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter? Follow us on all of our platforms. More information on our YouTube, our Blue Sky, our Twitter, aka X, and more socials, and every way that you can support us will be available in the episode notes.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. This is our weekly recap of Married to Medicine. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy, it's free. Earlier today, we were live with Layla Lynn and Grace Report for our Real Housewives of Potomac part 2 of the Potomac reunion. So be sure to check that out if you missed it. Always love when they come through because they always give a different perspective. And I'm open, unlike some people, I'm open to other perspectives. This is why I find it funny when people say that Tauruses are stubborn. I'm like, I'm not. I like to hear what other people have to say, even though I'm usually right 99% of the time. 99.9%. I was going to give you a 5, but no. 99.9% of the time. Okay. Guys, if you had to rate this week's episode of Married to Medicine from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? I apologize in advance for a lack of energy. I got a vaccination, so I'm a little out of it today. I'm not my 100% self. So if I do feel a little bit low energy and if I have to not take callers today, you understand why. I'm going to try, though. I'm going to battle through because I did watch this episode and I do have a lot to say about Married to Medicine. I'm concerned for Sweet Tea. I think Sweet Tea can handle herself. She said she's combat trained. However, when I look at Dr. Mimi, and we got to really see a little bit more of Dr. Mimi in this week's episode, but when I look at Dr. Mimi and how she conducts herself, she conducts herself with the energy of, I am a psychiatrist. And I know some people don't like that, but it's refreshing because we're talking about a show where it's about their careers. It's about medicine. So I feel as if Dr. Mimi has that energy. We've watched Dr. Gregory on Married to Medicine for years, and I've never in my mind said, oh yeah, he's a psychiatrist. I don't know what I thought he was. I know he's a psychiatrist in my brain, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't give that energy. And I know you're probably thinking, what's the energy for a psychiatrist? Look at Dr. Mimi. Level-headed, and I'm not saying that psychiatrists aren't allowed to have moments, but I feel as if that's never the energy that we get from Dr. Gregory. And I'm saying this, not saying that I'm team anyone. I'm just giving you my thoughts, okay? So I have to say, in this episode, we really got to see Mimi in a way that I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that. And again, we're watching an edited show. They really haven't shown her a lot. I want us to give Dr. Mimi a shot. I want to see Dr. Mimi come back because I do believe that she is the future of Married to Medicine. And I say that not saying that her specifically. I'm not saying like, oh, she is the queen of Married to Medicine. I'm just saying if we are trying to go in a direction of revamping the show, and I do think that the show does need some revamping, it does. Because at this particular point, you're on for 11 years and every season you're figuring out what can we do this season to make it interesting. That says to me, it's time to revamp. It's time for us to get into something else, get into other people's lives. Can you imagine if we had a season with Dr. Mimi and Audra? I know every single episode I talk about Audra. Every single episode. Bring back Audra. I think she deserves another shot. Anyway, so we start where we left off last week, and that is the fight between Dr. Gregory and King. When I say fight, I don't mean necessarily physical fight. There was an argument, but there were several arguments going on. And I still stand by, I feel like King's timing was off. There was no reason for us to have this heated conversation in the midst of another heated conversation. So it gets heated between them, and then King goes charging for Dr. Gregory. But Dr. Gregory knows that no one's going to touch him because the way if they had the sound effect of, like the way he backed up, and then he was trying to stand in place, like, you ain't gonna do nothing, you ain't gonna do nothing. I watched it multiple times. It was giving that energy because he knew that security was not gonna let King get to him. All right, exactly. Nash says justice for Audra. I'm gonna say it every week. Dee says, I don't care for Audra. You weren't alone. There were some people that didn't care for Audra. I think she deserved another shot before you give Phaedra a shot. She's at least married to medicine, and she skews in a younger audience. This is what they're looking for with this group. But anyways, I say all that today. So King runs up on Dr. Gregory. Check was there to kind of stop things from going left. But we saw, sidebar, now that I rewatched this episode, did they not show when Leticia went running for Dr. Gregory? Because remember, we saw that in last week's episode. I can't remember if they showed it again in this week's episode. Because, I love that part. That part, so I was like, oh, she's a runner. She's a track star. Okay. All right. And for those that are wondering if I talked about Dr. Heavenly and her homophobic comments, I did yesterday, along with talking about Karen Euger's 4 DUIs. So be sure to check out that video. We won't dwell, but of course, you guys can share your thoughts when you call in, if we take any callers. Okay. So anyway, Quad goes running for King. She's like, no. And then we see, because remember, according to Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel, Leticia says that she was going to use her military powers in order to fight King. So there's so much that we did not see or hear because it's an edited show. But we did see when Leticia was running up on King. I'm like, what is Leticia doing? And Quad is telling Leticia, go to your husband. Go to your husband. What was she going to do? Was she going to fight him? I'm glad. April says sidebar equals number 1. Okay, fine. I say sidebar a lot. Okay, y'all. Hey, Junie. Oh, wait, not Junie. Janie. Hey, what's going on? She's like, Bomba Clat. Me catch her live, Kim. I'm so excited. All right. Anyways, it's hot in the studio. I will say that. It's warmer here in New York than it's been. It's not that warm, though. All right. So Quad tells Leticia, go to your husband. But she was running up on King like she was going to do something. And maybe she could. I don't know. Okay, can I just be bad for a second? I want to see what was going to happen. Let her go. What's going to happen? Look, I not that I want to see them fight. I just want to see, wait, what's gonna happen, Leticia? I want to see that combat training. Anyways, so it's disarray. Everyone is in their different corners. Leticia goes to Dr. Gregory. King speaks with Quad and he confirms to Quad, he told you to shut the F up. And she's like, he told me to shut the F up? And she's like, he shouldn't be talking that way to any woman. Okay. King then says that Quad can say whatever she wants to say. I don't know if that's true. I get it. And I know some people are like, yeah, that's what a real man is supposed to do. Right, Heavenly? Not a gay man, but a real man is supposed to do. And I've seen that narrative for people saying that this justified King doing what he was supposed to do. Because remember, we saw, because we have to remember watching a show where they're mic'd, but in real life, apparently King and Quad did not hear Dr. Gregory. I felt like King was trying to make up for maybe not standing up earlier against Gregory. So I felt like he was like, you know what? I didn't stand up for you yesterday, so I'm going to stand up for you today and go the full level. And he's like, I got your back. That's what he says to Quad as they're walking away. So Mimi says something really interesting. Mimi was a real friend to Sweet Tea because she says that they want to come between between Leticia and Greg. She says this to Sweet Tea. They want to come between you. Don't you guys think that was interesting that Mimi said that? That Dr. Mimi said that? I was like, oh. But some people would agree with her. A lot of people probably would agree with her. So this is where you see Sweet Tea is spiraling. She is crying. Phaedra is trying to hold her up. They put her in a circle and they start praying. Dr. Contessa starts praying. I got to say this. I haven't been a huge fan of Dr. Contessa, but I'm kind of liking her this season, even though we know that there's an elephant in the room that's not being addressed. There's an elephant in the room not being addressed, but maybe she should remain a friend of. So that way she doesn't have to deal with, sharing too much of her life. But I do like the balance that she brings, even to the point where she was having conversations with Dr. Heavenly on the boat on the way back. Despite their issues, they were able to have conversations. So Mimi says that this is what they want. They want to come between Leticia and Greg. So Leticia's having a breakdown. All of them come around Leticia, meaning Contessa, Mimi, and Phaedra, and they wrap her up and they start praying. Dr. Contessa starts praying. And then Phaedra starts speaking in tongues. So I saw this clip, and a lot of people were slamming Dr. Simone for some of the things that she said about Heavenly, because you're speaking in tongues and you're talking to God, but you can't figure out the situation with your ex. Here's the thing. We can say what we want about Phaedra, but one thing we do know is that Phaedra grew up in the church. Her speaking in tongues, I didn't feel in that particular moment it was performative, because why would she need to do that? I think she felt called in that moment as they were praying on Sweet Tea. I think we have to remember we're watching an edited show. It looks like it was pretty bad. So can you imagine the unedited version? It looked like she was having a breakdown. So I do believe that Phaedra felt called in that moment. Just because you feel called in a moment doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes in general when it comes to your own life and your own relationship. So Phaedra's speaking in tongues. Everyone's having a reaction. You see Dr. Damon and Dr. Eugene's like, what's going on over there? I guess they never grew up in a... Look, mind you, I grew up at Jehovah's Witness, but I've been to like the Baptist church and things like that, so where they speak in tongues. And whatnot. So to me, I was just sort of like, I've seen it before, but I guess they've never seen it before. Auntie Eva says, I completely disagreed with Simone. I think they just want to be... You have to remember, these confessionals are filmed after the season has been filmed. Okay? Ms. Brooklyn says, Phaedra does not have an issue with her ex. You all have issues with her and with her ex and her. She definitely has some sort of issue with Apollo. I just don't think it's the issue that they were sharing on the show. But we'll get to that. Okay? Let me put this up. Don't forget to like the video, guys. It's easy and it's free. We're talking about the latest episode of Married to Medicine. We're live behind the scenes here on TikTok. We're also live on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. All right. So they're praying in a circle. People are reacting to Phaedra speaking in tongues. Okay. Dr. Simone has her comments about it. Okay. Heavenly. Wait. No. Speaking of Apollo. So Apollo, he says, Phaedra, I've known her since 1997, and I ain't never seen anything like that. So I guess they're all trying to say that Phaedra speaking in tongues was performative. Y'all know I'm not a fan of Phaedra. However, I just feel like, why would she feel like she needs to do that? And just because you're speaking in tongues, maybe for the first time in front of you, Mr. Inmate Nida, doesn't mean that she hasn't or she can't be in that moment. Maybe it was the first time for her. We don't know. Anyways, I say all that to say, Apollo says that he's known Phaedra since 1997 and he ain't never seen anything like that. You were too busy scamming people.
What is this, honey?
Look, you were too busy scamming people to notice. My TikTok fam, they say Fanio says, nah, she was faking it. But what would be the point in faking that? I don't get the point in faking that in that particular moment. What does that do? But again, I'm open to hearing what you guys have to say. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I just feel when it comes to someone's religion and their religious practice, we should be a little bit more sensitive in regards to that. Just saying. Exactly. MT69 says, Phaedra is a daughter of a pastor. Pastors. Aren't both her parents pastors? MT69, Phaedra is a daughter of a pastor. She's performing. I don't know. Mama Ellie says, sidebar, where we go? Mama Ellie says attention, which she's getting. I don't know, y'all. And y'all know, ooh, yes, I know when Phaedra's performing, I don't know if I feel that. KJ says because she's a fake person in general. Okay. Jillian says either scamming or in the strip club. Either way, not around Phaedra enough. Ooh. In regards to Apollo. All right. Okay. Moving along. So Apollo says that Jackie on the boat. So they take separate boats back. So nothing really goes down between King and Dr. Gregory. They take separate boats back so that they don't have to, because of course it might lead to something else. So Jackie has a conversation with King. Did anyone kind of be like, Dr. Jackie, like, first of all, inappropriate. Inappropriate. But Arjun said, if you feel comfortable, could you please, I am not going to explain speaking in tongues because that's not my religion. I'd much rather someone that's well-versed on it talk about it than me. So I will say that, Arjun. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. They don't necessarily do that in that religion that I know of. But I have been to churches where that has happened. Okay. So Dr. Jackie is speaking to King. She's like, where are you guys this week in your number? Because you remember they said Quad and King, they have sex 15 times a week. She's like, where are you guys? Mind you, Dr. Jackie and Curtis, I have not seen them one time during this Sandbar fiasco next to each other. Like the other couples I've seen with each other at some particular point, I have not seen Dr. Jackie and Curtis together. Even on the boat, she's sitting with King talking about his sex life, and he's over there grinning about probably wondering when he gets a chance to go back to the DR. I will say this. Did you guys notice during the group circle that they did at the end of the episode, Curtis has some nice teeth. He probably got his teeth done, but they look good.
What is this, honey?
They look good. Go look at Curtis's teeth. Those are some good teeth he got done. I don't know if he got them done or if that was natural. They look like he got them done, but they look good. You know, some people get their teeth done and then it's like, It's like, No, his looks perfect. I love them. Okay. Anyways, I just noticed that Dr. Jackie and Curtis were never near each other during the fiasco, or not even on the boat. But anyways, so Dr. Jackie was just, she's trying to counsel King. And then she's like, well, where are you guys this week in regards to, your 15 times a week? Inappropriate. I know she was making a joke, but inappropriate. Okay. Anyways. Contessa, though, she does say something in her confessionals that I forgot. Because I just thought, I didn't realize that Sweet Tea was actively trying to have a baby. And she mentions that, Sweet Tea's on hormones and things like that. So that might explain some of her reactions and her behaviors. And I was like, that's a good point. That is a valid point. And she's like, we have to give her grace, in regards to what she might be going through. Anyways, so they end up going back. Heavenly, Jackie, and Simone the next day have a conversation with Apollo and Shereen. Phaedra in the other room has a conversation with, not Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie was with Phaedra. But Heavenly and Simone have a conversation with Apollo and Shereen. They're deciding to leave the trip because they're like, this is too much. Apollo says that Phaedra knew that Shake was his friend. And she told Apollo that Shake said that he didn't know her. We already saw that Shake did tell Phaedra that he knew her. Do I think that Phaedra lied? Yes. Do I think that you can lie and still be used by God and speak in tongues? Yes. I do think those things can happen. However, I do think that Phaedra has a pattern of lying. Lavender says the hormones part made a lot of sense. I thought she was a bit more hyped than usual. Yeah, so I appreciated Dr. Contessa in that moment reminding us that, because I was like, oh, well, you know what? You got a point. You have a very valid point there. So Heavenly and Simone have this conversation with Apollo. Apollo explains why he was perturbed with Phaedra and Shake. All right. So, because he's saying Shake and he are friends. He was like, Shake was just calling me the other night to go to the strip club. And look, I'm going to ask you guys a question. How would you feel if you were in this particular situation where your ex-wife is dating one of your close friends? They're saying that the kids call him Uncle Shake. Ooh. They call him Uncle. Ooh. And yeah, anyways, we're going to leave that alone. So it seems as if Apollo and Shake are close. Maybe. So Apollo says his issue with Phaedra is that she's bringing on one of his good friends. I mean, I get it. I don't think that Apollo wants anything with Phaedra, but I think based on what we're seeing, it seems like Phaedra was sort of being messy by bringing Shake on and not telling Apollo. And that's why he decided to bring Shereen. Because I think originally he was only going to come, but when he found out that Shake was coming, that's why he brought Shereen. But, okay, here I go twerking on a fence. I can't blame Phaedra for her reaction to Apollo and Shereen. We have to remember Shereen was the other woman while she was pregnant with the vice president. You know what I mean? So I can understand not seeing it for Apollo and more specifically Shereen. Anyway, so Shake wanted to go to the strip club the other day. So he reveals that. What does Apollo do for work? Like, where are you getting money to go to the strip club? He probably doesn't have money because you remember we just reported to you that he's getting a divorce from Shereen, or Shereen's getting a divorce from him. They're getting a divorce. And they have to live in the same house, probably because of financial reasons. So why are you doing at the strip club? You don't need to be at nobody's strip club. Bling, bling. Look, bling, bling, bling says Apollo's always at my apartment complex. Why? Does he got a woman there? Here's the thing, though. I mean, I wish him the best, but I think once you've been arrested 2 times, you've been incarcerated 2 times, it's hard for you to get a job after that. So what is exactly he's doing for work? K-Baby says Apollo's job is looking good. See, this is why it's important to be attracted to someone other than their looks, because you could end up with an Apollo. And I know what some of you are saying. I mean, things could be worse. I'm good. Me and my social security number are good. Tracy says, what does King do for work? He I don't know if he owns a luxury rental car service or he's one of like the top people there, something like that. That's the business that he's in. Okay. Winter says that, listen, Apollo is just not hubby material. Veronique says that probably a bouncer somewhere. I haven't heard that. Exactly. Miss Brooklyn says Apollo follows Phaedra from show to show to collect a check. And I'm sure that she paid him to come at the reunion last season, and she probably paid him to come on the show this season. I wouldn't be surprised. Does he, like, what is their custody situation? What is the child support situation? I have questions. Mr. Melon Magic says Kempire was moist for last week for Apollo. I was, but I have woken up from the moistness, and maybe it's the vaccination. It's woken me up. Look, woken me up. Yeah. It's woke me up in regards to, Apollo would be good for one night, but that's about it. Anyways, that's probably what Shake is thinking too. Margot, I'm not going to even read what you just wrote in the live chat. Okay, I'm going to read it. I would pay money and say that Apollo is on OnlyFans. I think you want to say I would pay money to see Apollo on OnlyFans. Anyways, moving on. So Apollo has that conversation. Dr. Heavenly wants to make it seem like she's so innocent. She was innocent in this regard, and luckily they did film her telling Phaedra about Apollo coming on this trip. Okay? And Apollo gives some insight. He says that he texts Phaedra that he wanted to have a one-on-one, some more camera time, but she wasn't hearing it. He then says that Phaedra it's like having a battle of the minds with this group. And they all agree. They're like, Phaedra, some of you have said this too. Phaedra feels as if that these women, despite her calling these types of B words, she feels challenged by them because, like, on a Real Housewives of Atlanta, you don't have a lot of well-educated, well-spoken women, at least when she was on the show. So she felt probably better than a lot of them. But on this show, everybody's educated. Some might be considered more educated and accomplished than she is. Okay. So he says that he believes that's what it is. And they seem to agree that that might be Phaedra's issue with the group. Do you guys really believe that's Phaedra's issue with the group? I think Phaedra's biggest issue with this group is that she's not willing to show up and work. She's not willing to share her story. I don't think it's any intimidation to the group. I think Phaedra just feels like, oh, they brought me on this show. They just wanted me to be there. She just wanted to kind of come there, lay down and do nothing. That basically. Okay. Amy J says Kenya is educated. Well, I'm saying the majority of the women on the cast, when you think about the levels of education, probably Phaedra was probably the most educated. You know what I mean? Because she has a Juris Doctorate. I think for the majority of the women, some of them had just like their bachelor's or something. There's nothing wrong with that. But in comparison, okay? Lainey says, isn't Phaedra an attorney? Yeah, she's an attorney. So, speaking of Phaedra has a conversation with Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie goes to check on her. She's there having a conversation with Jack. Phaedra says that she was most disappointed with Dr. Jackie. Were you all, like, taken back? Like, Dr. Jackie seemed like she was taken aback. You're most disappointed with me? And honestly, I don't know if Phaedra even believed what she was saying. Because pay attention to her facial reactions as she's speaking. I'm like, I don't even think you believe what you're about to say. So she says she was most disappointed with Dr. Jackie. Jackie says that Heavenly said that Phaedra was aware that Apollo was coming. Phaedra said she felt like no one came to support her. Dr. Jackie does own the fact that no one actually did come and check in on Phaedra. Do you think that they should have came to check in on Phaedra? I mean, there was so much going on. I'm going to give them grace because they should have probably went to check in on Sweet Tea and Dr. Gregory. I probably wouldn't think in my head, oh, we need to go check in on Phaedra. But she says no one checked in on me. And she says, I've decided to leave. She says some people can be played with, but I'm not one of them. Okay. She says some of these people can be played with, but I'm not one of them. I have to say this. We have to remember the timeline of things. Phaedra exiting this show. Remember, word on the street, they were negotiating her return because already at this particular point, the Kenya situation had happened. So Phaedra was already probably talking to Bravo and production about returning to Real Housewives of Atlanta. Based on what happened during the fight, I did not see a reason for Phaedra to leave. It's not like she didn't know that these folks were coming, or at least Apollo was coming. It felt performative in regards to why she decided to leave. You know what I mean? So she's like, I'm done with this group. She says she feels like this group is a set of mean girls. And look, the audience will probably agree that it is a set of mean girls. Wendy says that she left for Atlanta. Yeah. Because what went down, especially with what Phaedra has gone through in her life, I just did not see this as being one of the things and one of the reasons that she would end up leaving this group trip. I think she had already, at that particular point, signed on the dotted line, and she's like, I'm up out of here. I don't need to be here anymore. And probably the same reason why she decided not to show up for the reunion. She's like, I don't need to be here anymore. I've been paid. And now I'm back where I really wanted to be, and that is on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Someone says she needed a reason to leave. Exactly. There was nothing that happened for me that, unless there's something that we did not see, and that was the reason that motivated her to leave. Gigi says she wanted no smoke with Apollo. She probably didn't want to further give him any more camera time before her truth would be told on her, probably. Who knows? Shout out to everyone that came to the Kempire After Dark live experience this past Friday here in New York City. We had such an incredible show. I just want to say thank you to everyone that came, everyone that watched the live stream, everyone that was a part of our meet and greet. We had a long line for the meet and greet, but we normally do at the New York show. I will do another New York show. Stay tuned for another date, but it'll probably be later in later in the year. So stay tuned for that. And again, shout out to those that watched the live stream. Shout out to Rita. Rita, thank you so much for the super chat. And Rita, thank you so much for your thoughtful gift. She gave me a couple of things. I don't know if I can share, Rita, but I loved it. Tea. Look, tea. Some lavender honey, because I like the lavender honey from William and Sonoma. I already tried it, Rita. Delicious. And my book. Thank you so much for that. And also, if you could probably see behind me, someone gave me at the show some sprays and candles and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to do probably a separate live so I can show you guys in person. Rita, thank you so much for the super chat. Rita says, thank you so much, Kemp, for an amazing show on Friday. The crowd was lit. They really were, Rita. The atmosphere was unbelievable and the community was so kind and welcoming. The Brooke Ashley was the icing on the cake. It was, and she was. Thank you so much, Rita. Flew. This is why, for those that watched the live stream, I was throwing those of you that were in New York City, but I appreciate the support regardless. If you were watching from New York City, from your couch, I understand. Rita, thank you so much for flying in all the way from Germany, Berlin, Germany, right? And she only came in for the show. She was only here for a few days. Rita, thank you so much for the support. Always great seeing you. Rita also came to my London show. Rahina was there too. Right, Rahina? Rahina says, and I met Rahina's husband, lovely man. And she showed me a picture of her son. Adorable. Okay, Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat. Rahina says, be careful on who prays on you. I agree with that. Phaedra's prayer never made it to the sky. Come on. Never made it to the sky. Also, such a pleasure meeting you. I got lots of hugs. Sorry. P.S. My bestie is so upset that I didn't take her. We all love you. Rahina, why didn't you take your bestie? Or was date night out? Well, the next show. Stay tuned. It was so nice seeing you too, Rahina. I hope you had a great time at the show. It was great meeting you and your husband as well. Your husband was a part of the show. I made him a part of the show. I hope he was comfortable with that. Annette, thank you so much for the super chat. Annette says, hi, Kemp. You've been added to my list of people I trust with Rex. Oh, Melissa's cookies were delicious, too. Wait, you looked fine in the suit for the live show. Thank you. My calendar shows busy for the duration of this live. Thank you so much, Annette. I appreciate the love. I would not, if I don't like something, I'm going to tell you. And I'm excited to share with you about a new partnership with skincare. Stay tuned because I'm loving it. And you guys have been saying my skin has been looking great. I mean, you've been saying that, but especially lately. Excuse me if I look a little tired today because I didn't get any sleep. This damn vaccination. I do know how to say vaccination. Calm down to the people that aren't familiar. I'm being facetious. The vaccinations. I'm still like, and then I feel like, anyways, you don't care about that. You're like, give me my review. Regina, thank you so much for the super chat. Regina says, why does Curtis not have a storyline, but they've given Apollo a storyline? Take us to DR. Just saying. Anyway, because I know some of you get all in your feelings because I put a little slang on something. Like, that's not the word. Okay, fine. I'll speak proper English going forward. Okay. Anyways. Okay. So Phaedra ends up taking a private jet. Now it makes more sense. Remember when she made her announcement on being on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was getting off a private jet? See? So this was all strategic. She's getting on a private jet leaving Key West. And then she's getting off a private jet to announce that she is a full-time peach holder. See, this is why I feel like it was performative. All right? So then we have like this. There's a little bit of this episode that I didn't care about when they went to the tasting and the guys went to the cigar making. I really didn't care. They were talking about what went down with Dr. Gregory. Simone was revealed that Dr. Jackie said to her that Phaedra would not be returning, that she was done with the group. So that it wasn't just like Phaedra was leaving the trip. Phaedra was saying goodbye, that she was not coming back. I'm telling you, at this particular point, it's very clear to me Phaedra had signed her new contract, and that's the reason why she ends up leaving. That's the only reason. She wanted an excuse. She did not. She's like, I don't need this anymore. I signed on the dotted line. Why do I need to be here and deal with these B words? I'm assuming that's what she would say. Okay. Anyways, let me take a sip. Lord. Okay. So they discuss Phaedra saying that she's done with the group, and they're like, she's done? She's like, yeah, she says she's done with all of us. The guys go to smoke some cigars. They're learning how to wrap cigars. Fine. They're talking about King's fight with Dr. Gregory. Damon chimes in and says that he agrees with King for sticking up for Quad in that moment. And a lot of you agree with King. I feel like there are mixed reactions. I don't know. Maybe I should do a poll. Team, I'm going to do a poll. Based off of our live chat, I want to see what people think about this. Look, I already kind of know what the results will be, just because after seeing this week's episode and the conversation between Sweet Tea and Dr. Gregory, he's gross. And everything that Quad said about Dr. Gregory, I believe it. I believe 100%. And I'm not saying that Quad is innocent in anything that she's done over the years, but I believe everything Quad said about Dr. Gregory, because we see it playing out. He has not healed whatever he's done over the years as someone's therapist, but they usually say psychiatrists are usually the ones that have the most problems. Let me just do it. Okay. Let me just do a poll. Please hold. Hey, whose team are you on? There we go. I don't know about y'all. Hold on. I didn't even do my little normal poll. But okay, so team King or team... And I'm not giving you another choice, because I'm like, no, we need another choice. No, we don't. Team King or team Dr. Greg, okay? Let me see what the poll is polling. So for those that are watching on Twitch or Twitter, head on over to our YouTube channel and vote in the poll. I got to see what this turns out to be, okay? Anyways, so they talk about what went down, and King shares his side. Dr. Damon says, I understand where you're coming from. A lot of people understand where King is coming from. I feel, though, still... the timing was wrong. We already have all these other fights going on. This was not the time to pull Dr. Gregory to the side. Unless a producer was in King's ear, go talk to Dr. Gregory. That's also another possibility. Let me see. Oh, damn. Let me see what the votes are voting. Okay, already 200 and something, almost 300 votes. Keep voting, y'all. I will go back and see who y'all agree with. Team King or Team Dr. Gregory. Looking for good for you, Dr. Gregory. Okay, exactly. Amanda, I can see this. Amanda says, I don't agree with the fighting part, the physical fighting, but I 100% agree with King confronting Dr. G. And remember, Dr. G is the one who told on himself. And so he's so weird. I'm sorry. Damn. I'm really trying this week not to call him weird. But he's so weird because he was the one who told on himself multiple times. He said, yeah, I told her to shut them down. And I'm like, sir, weirdo. Someone says the producer, a.k.a. Quad. But I've been telling you, I do feel like Quad has been in King's ear for the last comment. I'm not saying that she can make a man do anything, but I do believe she's been planting the seeds. Like, oh, are you going to say anything to him today? You remember that. Anyways. Ashley says, Kempire, you can't say that, then do a poll. I know. I know. It is what it is, though. You guys will be strong. Vote. Damn. Okay, it's changing a little bit. Keep voting, guys. We have, nearly 2,000 of you watching. Keep voting. I want to see where this ends up. Until we get to, at least 1,000 votes, then I will read the results. Keep voting in the YouTube poll. Okay. All right. Let's get to this other conversation. Okay? So... Sweet Tea is back at home with Dr. Gregory, and they have this very interesting conversation. Greg says that it would have been a fight to the death if Check was not there. Sweet Tea was like, I don't think that's the truth. Because she's thinking there's production there's security there. She's like, it's not going to be a fight to the death. Dr. Gregory wants to make it seem as if he was going to fight anybody. I understand Dr. Gregory not fighting anyone. He has a lot to lose. But, sidebar, you know what we didn't talk about? I believe Sweet Tea revealed this. I think it was on her YouTube channel. I can't remember. But Dr. Gregory, basically, I don't know if he left his job or lost his job. I have questions. Did he lose his job? Why did he lose his job? Or why did he part ways with the hospital where he was working? I have questions, y'all. just saying. Anyway. Okay. So, so they had this conversation. And he said it was going to be a fight to the death. Okay. if Chake wasn't there. Greg says that Sweet Tea, she was like, Sweet Tea says, I have combat training. And so thank you, Rita, for gifting 5 memberships to the live chat. We appreciate you. She's like, it was going to be a fight to the death. And she's like, I don't think it was going to be a fight to the death. And then she's like, I was going to do something. I was going to, jump in. He's like, what are you going to do? He's like, I got combat training. And so they throw back and show pictures of her when she was in the Navy or the Air Force? I think she was in the Air Force. All right. And he says, oh, you're just naive. And she's like, don't do that. Don't do that. So the conversation gets heated, and then he decides to leave and go upstairs. But they're still mic'd. And based off the mic'd conversation, it was so awkward. He says, it's Sweet Tea's fault. He's like, don't say anything to make me go off. Okay, I'm not an expert in abuse. However, that sounds very abusive. Don't say things to make me go off? What? Mind you, this is an actual psychiatrist. The way that he spoke to Sweet Tea made me concerned for her, because we know the toxicity that existed between Quad and Dr. Gregory years ago. Clearly, and we saw this before during the Key West trip, the way he spoke to her. Mind you, he's getting mad at her when you're mad at the wrong person. I feel like he's directing his anger at the wrong person, which says a lot to me about him. And can you imagine what we did not see? Can you imagine, when cameras and mics are not there? Tiff says production would have had to peel me off of him. Exactly. The misogyny of what he said. I lost the comment. K-Baby says he also said to her, you're still a woman. Horrible. And I'm probably sure she could take him. I don't want to see that happen, but I have to say, a lot of you last night when I went live to talk about the other topics, I hadn't watched Married to Medicine, had mentioned this conversation. And so watching it today, I was just like, this is disturbing. But it was disturbing when they were in Key West and he was yelling at her for talking to Quad. Mind you, he is arguing with Quad as well. And then he got so heated that he had to leave and go for a walk. Dr. Gregory, you're the problem. And it makes complete sense to me that your next wife would have been someone younger, someone you thought that you could control. But I don't think you can control Sweet Tea. And especially the fact that Sweet Tea has come on this platform and people are going to be in her ear. Sweet Tea, I would reconsider having a child with this man. Because once you have a child with someone, then you're stuck with co-parenting with this person for the next 18 years. That conversation was quite telling, even though we've seen signs and symptoms of his misogyny and abuse before. But when he went upstairs, mind you, they know that they're mic'd. He's like, it's Sweet Tea's fault. He's like, don't say anything to make me go off. And she talks about, them being a team. Because she's like, why are you turning on me? Why is this argument between us when we're supposed to be a team? And he's like, but I'm the leader of this team. Sir, no, you're not the leader of this team at this particular point. Weirdo behavior. So anyway, then the group dinner, we have Dr. Mimi providing the dish that they got from the Met Gala that they auctioned at the Met Gala. Okay. Oh, wait, let me see. There was a comment that I wanted to share. Ashley says, Kempire, the way that she was trying to calm and quiet him so that he wouldn't embarrass her was so bad. I feel sorry for her. It was quite telling. It was very telling of their relationship. Shar says, how Dr. G speaks to her and the gaslighting of it all, it rings true for what Quad said about their marriage. And look, Dr. Mimi even says it was very clear based on the interactions between Dr. Gregory and Quad during the Key West trip that these two have not healed the issues of the past. Look, sometimes when you get out of these relationships, I don't think that Dr. Gregory and Quad need to heal anything at this particular point because you're no longer in each other's lives. Sorry, Dark and Lovely. Dark and Lovely says, Kempire, I fell out laughing at work. I'm not trying to get y'all fired, okay? Stop falling out laughing at work, okay? Anyways, so that conversation was very disturbing. Dr. Mimi at this group, it wasn't a group dinner, it was sort of like the circle thing. I'm tired. Look, I'm tired of some of these couples acting holier than thou, like they are the pinnacle of perfection when it comes to talking about relationships and marriage and things like that. Dr. Simone, Cecil, please save it. Until you're able to talk about Tammy, I don't want to hear a thing from you guys. Every season when they're like, we're hosting the couples and da-da-da. Y'all could not even finish the book because y'all refused to deal with the issues of Tammy. Someone said they need to bring Tammy on next season. I mean, at this particular point, if you guys continue the way that you are continuing, what exactly will you guys be talking about next season? So Dr. Mimi says that the exes have not done the work. Okay. I have to say, Toya's having a really good season. She's had a good last 2 seasons because she's making the most sense. She said, because they want to pretend like they're not mean girls and they don't have mean girl behavior. And she was just like, we got to really take a look in the mirror and say that we've done some, she's not saying them. She's saying we have done some effed up mess. Okay. And even Dr. Eugene, I have to say them as a couple, they made the most sense. Okay. Heavenly, I think you were being performative. Maybe this is why you and Phaedra could not get along. I think you were really being performative. It goes back to what Mariah Huck said about you, that you perform for the fans. And that's what you've been doing this entire season. The fans ripped you guys a new one when it comes to you guys, pushing out Quad out of the group. So now all of a sudden, we should have thought about this. And before bringing Sweet Tea, the other woman, in, we should have considered your feelings. I wonder if the fans did not turn on them, if they would be saying this or feeling this way. It felt performative to me. That's what Heavenly was doing in this moment. She wanted to have this moment to apologize. But I can appreciate Eugene in this moment. We have to say, I'm not the closest with Greg, but Greg is still a part of this group because Greg is friends with these guys. But Quad then says, I understand you don't want to eliminate him from this group, but I think if you put yourselves in my shoes, then you will have clarity. What do you guys think about that? I don't think that Quad is innocent, but if we were just to take the folks out of this and we put this in your own life, that your friends decide, even though they're friends with your ex, decide to invite the ex and your ex-husband and his new wife on a show that you're also on. How would you feel? I mean, in real life circumstances, I think a lot of times you're like, I don't want to ever see my ex ever again. And if you're my friend, why would I want to even be around any of you guys if you want to bring him around? But of course, they were being messy, they were being producers, and they don't want to talk about what's going on in their lives, so they much rather orchestrate this nonsense between Quad, Sweet Tea, and Dr. Gregory, and now King. Marlia on my TikTok says, I feel for her, but she should have said that before she came back. Okay. Quiet Girl says, I wouldn't give my ex the time if I'm happy in my current relationship. But I also believe we have to keep in mind, production is also being messy. Production is also forcing conversations and dialogues and things like that. So we have to keep that in mind as well. Okay. So, Heavenly says that she was wrong for not considering Quad's feelings. Dr. Eugene says that Dr. Gregory is still a part of the group, but Quad says, if you put yourselves in my place, I think that you guys would have some clarity. Here's my problem with Quad. Quad has not taken any ownership or accountability. She's put it on all of this cast because she saw what the Quad Squad did to them, and now they're all whimpering and falling back like the wolves, just like, oh. Now, so she feels empowered because the fans have said, oh, y'all did Quad wrong. I think two things can be true. They are a set of mean girls, but also Quad is not innocent. So Quad is coming into this conversation. She's like, I think if you put yourself in my place, then you would have some clarity. I have a lot of clarity. Exact, Palace. Come on, Palace. Let me find my, where's my, here we go. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. All right. Guys, we have almost 1,000 votes, but we're still short like 100 votes. Keep voting in our YouTube poll. We have over 2,000 of you. Well, 2,400 of y'all. Why haven't you guys voted? I won't know that you voted. It's okay. Vote in the poll. Vote in the poll. All right, moving along. Let me say thank you. We had quite a few super chats. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. You can also support the channel just by liking today's video. We have 2,400 of you here, but only 600 likes. Mods, how many likes should we get before I drop the call-in link? Let me do this now. If you are a member of the channel, I'm going to drop the call-in link on the post tab here on YouTube. So let me just do that right now before I forget. And don't forget, you can also hear our live recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. We had our friend DJ Richie Sky here yesterday talking about traveling while Black. We had a lot of really great information that played out there. So be sure to check that out if you missed it. You can hear it also on the Kempire podcast. All right. And earlier today, we were live with Layla Lynn and Grace Report for our Real Housewives of Potomac recap as well. All right, so I dropped the call-in link for you guys there. Okay. Sarita, thank you so much for super chat. Sarita says, remember when we first found out Phaedra was returning to RHOA? She was photographed walking. Oh, so, okay, and seen. So Sarita, literally, that's what I said too. So this was a scheme that Todd set up for Phaedra to come to us with the BS. Bernice, nice seeing you at the show on Friday, and Bernice was the one to say, Kempire, where's the show? Are you giving us a show? The coming back to New York. So Bernice says, thanks, Kempire, for giving us another show in New York City. Are you talking about the one that we just did, or are you talking about the future one, Bernice? Joyce, thank you so much for the super chat. Joyce says, hey, Kempire, I had a great time on Friday, broken foot and all. I didn't see you, Joyce, with a broken foot. I was the first one online at the meet and greet. Can't wait for the next one. Did I notice that you had a broken foot? Thank you, Joyce. It was nice meeting you. We had such a great crowd. Shout out again to the Brooke Ashley for being one of our co-hosts for the night. And for those that may have missed it, I was also on Alexander Rogers and Chris's pop roast over the weekend as well. So be sure to check that out. Go drop your crowns and your elephants in their comment section. Bernice, thank you for another super chat. She says, I may buy a meet and greet at the next show. You should have just come on over. Bernice, I thought that you were going to be a part of that. Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat. Rahina says, Kempire Aaron was loving. Oh, I love that. Good. I'm glad that your husband enjoyed. Pageant Mommy, it was nice meeting you as well. Friday was fabulous. I sat with your esthetician. Julio, he takes care of my skin. Yes, Pageant Mommy. I met Pageant Mommy. We took a picture together. Ariel, thank you so much for the super chat. Ariel says, her leaving was so performative. I didn't see them being mean to her unless it wasn't shown. Ariel, exactly. Unless there was something not shown, it didn't feel enough for Phaedra to leave. She knew he was coming, so what was the problem? Was it Shereen, sorry. I agree. Queen T, thank you so much for the super chat. Queen T says that she emasculates him, although I believe as a doctor, he needs one himself, therapist, a prescription, anger management in regards to Dr. Gregory. You think that she emasculates him? I don't think she... Who are you talking about? Sweet Tea? I don't think Sweet Tea emasculates Dr. Gregory. Lakita, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Hold on. Tyrese, thank you so much for the super chat. Tyrese says, I'm curious what the other husbands have to say about Dr. G's hot mic moment. I'm sure they're going to bring it up during the reunion. That was disturbing. Elsie, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh. Elsie, and I hope for Sweet Tea's sake that she's not putting up with this level of disgusting behavior because she wants to be married, she wants access to the money, or the fact that she wants a child. I hope that's not the reason why she's staying in this. But again, we saw a moment. It was a very damning moment. And we've seen signs, though, about his behavior towards her this season, too. Elsie, thank you so much for the super chat. Elsie says Quad especially should be supporting Sweet Tea the most. I think it's hard to support someone when it's clear that Sweet Tea is going to be team Dr. Gregory. Despite Dr. Gregory throwing her under the bus and arguing with her in front of the group, she doesn't do that to him. Jocelyn, thank you so much for the super chat. Jocelyn says, Jocelyn, isn't it your birthday today? Happy birthday. Jocelyn says, bring all the exes to see how they feel. Damn. Tammy's not even an ex. Tammy is a ex-best friend. Mackenzie, thank you so much for the super sticker. I mean, Shimmy, I don't want to move too much. I'm not feeling great. Mackenzie, thank you so much for being a member and for the super sticker. We appreciate your support. Barb, thank you so much. Wait, Barb says, I steamed it. It was good fun. Steamed it? What do you mean, Barb? I'm confused. You know, the vaccination got me like Karen Huger after she got hugged. Her vaccination. Jackie says that Quad warned her. Easter says, Easter, is that your real name? I always like that name. Easter says, Dr. Greg doesn't acknowledge Sweet Tea at all. That's a damn shame. Yeah, it just feels like she's a part of a team that he's not. All right. Moving on. So they've talked about that, and then we get a preview of what's to come. In next week's episode. Oh, you streamed it. Thank you. I was like, steamed it. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. Barb, thank you so much. I streamed it. You see how missing one letter can change the whole thing. I was like, what she mean she steamed it? What she steamed? No, Barb says, I streamed it, our live show. Shout out to the Green Room 42. There are not a lot of venues that give you that access, but we were able to give access that way. And Barb says it was good fun. Thank you so much. Y'all got me cussing and whatnot. So for those, if I come to your city, that's what you'll get in person. Okay. Did I pull back at all because I knew it was being streamed? Not really. Nikki says, you lit, Camp. Nope. I'm tired, actually. Anyway. All right. Let me see what the poll is saying. Okay. So we have over 1,000 votes. It's not close, but it's better than it was. So I asked the live chat, what team are they on? Are they Team King or Team Gregory? Dr. Gregory. 79% of you say that you're Team King. And only 21% of you say that you're Team Dr. Gregory. Anyways, thank you, Mallory. Mallory says it was a great stream. Thank you all for being there. I wish that we had like a list of people that were there. I'm sure we could get a list of the people that were there. But I mean, like during the show, I can actually see like a live chat or something because that would have been fun. Okay, and shout out to all of you that came from all parts of the country. We have people flying in from Toronto, from Berlin. We have people flying in from Texas. We have people flying in from, where else did people fly in from? Westchester. Not Westchester. Not flying in from Westchester. But you know what I mean. Did you guys watch the new Black soap opera on CBS yet? I haven't watched it yet. Okay. Nash says, Kemp, the poll is very, very far from close. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Anyways. All right. Let me get to the callers. Was there anything else that I wanted to say about Married to Medicine? If you guys had to rate this week's episode of Married to Medicine from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? I thought it was a decent episode. But at the same time, I felt like it was, is this all we're talking about? I'm like, I don't know if this is all I want, if this is all we're going to be talking about. Okay. All right. Moving on. Thank you so much, Miss Shay, for the super chat. We appreciate the support. Miss Shay says, allegedly, Apollo's wife brought a bunch of girls with her to jump Feifei on the trip. Also, is that why she decided to leave? I don't know if I believe that, y'all. But I wouldn't put it past her, but I don't know if I believe that. But that would be a reason to leave. But Phaedra didn't show up at the reunion, so we won't ever know. Unless the other ladies knew about it. Wow, our members have filled the backstage. Okay, so live chat, we have over 2,000 and 2,500, I don't know. We got over 2,000 people watching, okay? Let me get to our callers, but let me first put up our disclaimer to remind you that the opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, the Kempire LLC, our sponsors, et cetera, and everything that they say is alleged. Okay, Kookie is backstage. We're going to bring Kookie up next. Kookie, what's going on?
Finally, I'm first. Hey.
Hey.
I hope you come to Chicago soon because that's where I'm from. Born and raised.
Is that where you are now?
Yeah, that's where I am. I've been here my whole life. I'm only 25. So I hope you come sometime soon.
I like Chicago.
What I have to say about this episode is that my heart, like everyone else, goes out to Sweet Tea.
Yeah.
You know, I come from a big family. I got 8 brothers. So I'm happy someone is stepping behind Quad because if my brother got wind of somebody ever making me flinch, putting their hands on me, it'd be up and stuck forever. Like till the day we die. Like it's never, that's not something you can just forget or take away. It doesn't, no matter what you do, it carries with you. Yeah. And I grew up in an abusive home with my birth parents, and then we went into foster care and things like that. So we're very vigilant about who we let into our lives, into our circle. So I'm glad that somebody is sticking up for Quad, but I just wish, Sweet Tea had someone to stick up for her. I see the ladies doing it a little bit, especially in the confessionals. But if she has any men in her family, any men around her, snatch her about that situation real quick, because it ain't what she wants. I don't think she know any better. I really don't. I think she thinks she can gain something out of this, but she needs to go.
Yeah.
And I'm gone.
Thank you, Kookie. Take care. And I love Chicago. I would love to come to Chicago. Okay, there was a part about this episode that I forgot to mention. So when they talk about the women being mean girls and them denying it, production adds some different scenes of them being mean girls. Production, I get it. You don't want to relive some of the things that people would be reminded of. But we know Buffy's scene alone where Dr. Jackie talks about her fertility challenges alone is a prime example of the mean girl behavior on this cast. And then you guys made her enemy number 1. Did y'all, the different examples that they ended up giving, I was just like, y'all have been a lot worse. These are very soft examples. Okay. But I don't know if anyone else thought that. I was like, this is not. All right. Jaceline's backstage. We're going to bring Jaceline up next. Hold on. Jaceline, what's going on?
Hey, Kim. Hey. Thanks for remembering my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I actually manifested trying to talk to you on my birthday because I knew it was on a Monday, and I know you recapped this show on a Monday, so I appreciate it.
I love it.
One thing I will say is that nobody really checked Phaedra on how she spoke to Shereen. I mean, some of that conflict that she has, she could have handled that differently. So for all the words that she has at this bougie level, she goes really gutter really quick, and she didn't have to do that. So that wasn't talked about. So when she's saying nobody stuck up for her, you were very aggressive, unless again we missed something. But she was very aggressive towards her, and she didn't have to be. And then lastly, with Sweet Tea, I do feel sorry for her, but I think we saw how he was because we've been watching Greg these whole time since we've been on Married to Medicine. Yeah. So I do hope that she has people around her that will encourage her to protect herself and to be able to know when it's time to walk away, because this is really a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Scary.
It's very scary.
All right. Jaceline, any plans for your birthday?
Oh, I've been to the spa. I'm super relaxed.
Oh, yes. Okay, spa. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your birthday.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, shout out to all the Pisces. I know so many Pisces that had birthdays. I forgot how many Pisces I know. Jenna's backstage. We're going to bring Jenna up next. Jenna, we mentioned your name at the New York show. Not on stage, but during the meet and greet.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed it. How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm a little under the weather today. I stayed home from work, but it was fantastic because I got to catch your two lives. I saw
Yes.
you and the lovely ladies. They look great. They always look great, but especially Layla was giving and her color pop in the lip today.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was fantastic. But I wanted to get on and talk about the mess because I have never seen it for Dr. G, and I never will. And I think that there's a lot of blame going on. It's like people saying like Dr. Dre is abusive, but quad. There's no but. Like, if he's abusive, he's just abusive.
No.
And I think that, and I saw some other people mention it in the chat, that, like, Sweet Tea was not only trying to keep him from embarrassing her, I think he was trying to keep him from embarrassing himself, because she knew those mics were still hot. And so the fact that she's even in the position of trying to keep him from embarrassing himself, and then at the same time trying to protect herself, I was like, it's just too messy. I do appreciate Toya for being the MVP this episode and calling out the mean girl behavior. Because lest we forget, and a few people mentioned it, they were basically doing mean girl shenanigans, having Apollo and his wife come on the show. And I know some people don't see it for the body shaming, but I think that girl was sleeping with Apollo while they were still married, and so I don't see it for her either.
Oh.
So she get what she get. And like some other people mentioned before on lives, and I had said it too in the chat, it's like, think about it as like, real quick, you broke up with somebody and they brought your ex to your job to play in your face. That's crazy. It's basically the same thing kind of with Apollo. It's like they could have just left him wherever he was. But let me get off the live. I have very strong feelings about abuse and things like that. I believe women. And yeah, Dr. G can go.
Damn. All right. Thank you, Jenna.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. We have Miss Brooklyn Diamond backstage. Going to bring her up next. Miss Brooklyn Diamond, what did you want to share about Married to Medicine?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
I'm not going to talk about the abuse and everything because it's very triggering for a lot of us women here, and a road that we don't all need to walk down again. But what I'm going to do is kind of skip to the end because, thank you, Toya, for saying what she said, but you playing in everybody's face too, because this is a rinse and repeat situation. Every single year they say the same damn thing. They have this whole sister circle or couples trip and all this remorse, and we need to be better and we need to do this, and then rinse and repeat. They go to the reunion, apologize, and pull out the same shenanigans, just a different target. So they've all done it. They do it repeatedly. I don't buy it. They're a bunch of mean girls, and until Bravo puts their foot down and stops this across all brands, this kind of continuing action is going to go on and on and on until people get sick and tired of it and actually leave. The thing is, they need to sit everyone down, say this can't go on, or you're just destroying the show. And really, that's all I have to say, because I'm tired of seeing it. Because if somebody brought the rumored mistress of Damon, brought the girlfriend for this one and that one, they would all be having fits and conniptions up in there, but they let hellishly get away with that every single year. And I'm just tired of it.
Miss Brooklyn, thank you so much for calling in. All right. Daff is backstage. Excuse me. We're going to bring Daff up next. Daff, what did you want to share about Married to Medicine?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, how are you today?
I am actually under the weather too, and I'm just so happy. I caught a live. I haven't been able to catch a live since the beginning of the month because it's been so crazy.
Yeah.
But it's so good to be back. One of the things, it's so bad. I know, everyone, please don't judge, but it actually cracked me up when Sweet Tea called Heavenly, I'll just say big back, whatever. And it cracked me up, not because she said it, it was the way she said it. But I do like the fact that she is defending herself as well, because I do see that they constantly, I don't like it when someone's asking a question or talking, and then it triggers me when you have this uncalled for, like, visceral response to the person. I mean, we're all adults, just answer the question, keep it moving.
Yeah.
But with Dr. G, what my hope is that he really ends up seeing, I know many therapists do have a therapist, and I really do hope that at some point he gets a therapist for himself and also gets a therapist for his marriage, just so he does not repeat history. And this way it could be healthier, especially if you want to bring a child or children into this. You want to bring it at your best. You know, my husband and I, we did therapy, and I'm sorry I went over, but we did therapy. And within that therapy, my husband got to realize, we pulled my son in it too. He was very young, but he got to realize that he needed more of a connection, which he didn't have because he lost his father as a toddler. So having that, I hope Dr. G looks back and really takes the time to invest in having a personal therapist and someone for their marriage for the sake of their family. And that's it. I'm so sorry I went over, but okay, love you and miss you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Feel better.
Thank you.
Oops, sorry. A lot of people have been getting sick. I have to say, the way I'm feeling, it's because I'm trying to prevent getting sick. I got my vaccination. Look, my vaccination. Look, I can take a nap right now. No, I won't. All right, we have a long line of people back, and these are just members. So shout out to those of you that are members. Shout out to Rita. Rita gifted memberships as well. So thank you so much for that. And happy birthday, Kathy Joe. Kathy Joe, yesterday was my 40th. Hope you had a fantastic birthday. Happy Pisces season. JW, thank you so much for the super chat. JW says, I hope Sweet Tea is smart in planning her exit. Here's the thing. Based off what Daph was saying, I don't feel like Dr. Gregory is speaking with another psychiatrist or therapist. I don't think he's getting the help that we all believe that he should be getting. Oriel, thank you so much for the super chat. Oriel says, I feel like Sweet Tea holds back in scenes because of Dr. G. I can 100% agree with that. We saw that in this week's episode alone. That was a really disturbing episode. And that scene was very disturbing. Because I think we saw exactly what we thought and what we've seen hints of. We really saw it. The fact that he tried to gaslight her and says, you are making me react this way. Sir, you are an adult and you are a psychiatrist. All right. Demi is backstage and bring Demi up next. Demi, what did you want to share?
I wrote everything down. I hope you feel better. I know what those vaccinations make you feel like. Oh
my God.
I agree with what majority of everyone said already about, the situation between T and Gregory. But I also think, I hate to say it, I'm glad she hasn't gotten pregnant yet, because I really think she needs to leave, and I don't think she's ever received the kind of love that we want for her, because there's no reason for her to pick someone like Gregory, and then for her to stay with someone like Gregory. I mean, I know filming is stressful, but she's heard enough to kind of figure out that he might not be a great person. So I hope she can just leave. I mean, she doesn't just say. I mean, he's like close to 60 years old. I don't think he would even admit that he has a problem, because if he admits he has a problem, that will definitely fuel that Quad was right about him the entire time. I don't think he would want to be to have that kind of embarrassment. I also really like Mimi on the show. I think for Mimi to succeed on the show, Heavenly would really have to leave, because she's very toxic, and kind of Simone too. Simone's shown a bit of toxicity to herself. Oh my God, my time is up. But real quick, I want to know about the large-chested woman that Toya was talking about. She mentioned a large-chested woman that may pop up, like about the bringing their exes back, and she said, well, the big titty girl, will she pop up? That's what she said on last episode.
Yeah, well, who was who? I don't know now.
I don't know,
Live
but
chat.
Thank you for having me. Have a great one.
You too, Demi. Take care. I forgot about that. Who was she referring to? Was she referring to somebody? All right. Jasmine's backstage. We're going to bring Jasmine up next. Jasmine, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire.
Hey, how are you?
Hey. First of all, I just want to say really quickly, you stunned me. I was not prepared for you to be cursing on that live stream.
You're not supposed to say what happens at Kempire After Dark stays at Kempire After Dark.
I wasn't prepared. I know you're a grown man, so I should not have been shocked. But I was like, oh my God.
I don't curse in real life, though. I really don't curse in real life. I do it for the show.
Oh, listen, you grown. You don't got to explain nothing. I just felt like the women did when we found out Stacey be cussing. I was like, oh my God, Kempire, you said that?
And then our running joke, we kept on talking about what Stacey said. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
I didn't make it through the whole thing. I got to finish it because I had to go to work.
Oh, damn.
But I got to finish it.
Okay.
I just really want to say really quickly, first of all, I felt like, I'm happy you said it this week. I've been feeling like it for a couple of weeks, that Phaedra was leaving. That this whole scene was a whole scheme that Todd set up. Like with Apollo coming. I don't know if she knew that the wife was coming.
Yeah.
But I kind of felt like it was a scheme just for her to, her escape plan or whatever. Just, for her to have a reason to leave. Because she was, so she could go on to Atlanta. I felt like that for a couple of weeks. And then I just want to say that I too, like, I think that was Brooklyn Diamond that said it. I'm tired of the kumbaya circle at the end after they cause all kinds of havoc. And then they want to have a kumbaya circle. It's so performative. It's so phony. And it's just, I'm sick of it. Like, especially after something like this, where you have people who have such toxic relationships, both Phaedra and Apollo and Heavenly. I mean, not Heavenly, and what's her name? Quad. Quad and Dr. J. Yeah, like they have such terrible relationships, toxic relationships, and Heavenly and Simone, like y'all are complicit in bringing these people on here to play. And I'm happy Phaedra played in their face back. I don't care how people feel, how they feel. I'm happy she played right back in their face and left. But the Kumbaya circle is performative. Heavenly's tweets talking about she felt for Sweet Tea, performative and fake. You don't feel for her.
Yeah.
You're just performing for the audience like you did last year. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. Have a great day.
Feel better.
Thank you. Bye. Jasmine spilling all the tea from the Kempire After Dark. Shh, you're not supposed to tell nobody nothing. Everything that happens at Kempire After Dark stays at Kempire After Dark if you still want us to do the live stream, okay? All right, we're going to get to some more callers. And these are all our members, so shout out to our members. We haven't even dropped the call-in link for the general audience. But if we get to 1,000 likes before we end the live, then I will. But right now, no. All right, we have Pageant Mommy backstage. We're going to bring Pageant Mommy up. Pageant Mommy, what's going on?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey,
how are you, my
I'm well.
love?
How are you?
I'm well. I had such a great time on Friday. And as I mentioned to you, I just, ended, my 16-year relationship just ended. So I needed to get out. So I really appreciated seeing you and Brooke and I are going to brunch. So, because we're neighbors.
Oh.
You can come, baby. You can come. But it was a great time. But I just wanted to say, listen, I do stick up for the underdog, and I know that people don't like Phaedra, but again, once again, if your ex-husband and his new wife with whom he cheated on you with you when you were pregnant are there at work, that's not going to be a pleasant encounter. It's just not. And so the same grace as folks can extend to, Quad and King and Greg and Leticia, because I'm not calling a grown woman Sweet Tea, we can still extend that to Phaedra from that perspective. And people, like you always say, keep in mind it's an edited show, and there's always going to be a villain. They're going to gang up on folks next season, just like TikTok. And you know what? I think that, I obviously Heavenly is problematic, but Simone, she is very, very problematic. And she is absolutely a mean girl. And she is so giving. I mean, actually, a few of them pretty much give that they, were probably shut out in school, high school and so forth. But they are mean. So they need to grow up on that. So just great time, and feel better.
Thank you so much, Pageant Mommy. Take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right. Okay. At first, I thought maybe I caught something from the show, but I've been taking my vitamins. But I got a vaccination, and that's definitely from the vaccination because my arm is still. All right. Lee's backstage. Lee, weren't you at the show? You asked a question, right?
Yeah, I was at the show. How are you?
How are you?
I had such a great time, actually. I was sitting next to a mom and her son.
Oh.
And then I also was sitting next to Butterfly Down. So shout out to them. It was like perfect. I always come by myself.
And you don't feel any type of way, right?
Nope, I don't feel any type of way. They were all sweet. Met Brooke again. C Diggs was there. Like literally, I always love your show because you never know who you might meet. So, but yeah, back to Married to Medicine. I don't. Phaedra is a Scorpio, but I don't claim her.
So is Heavenly.
But this one time, she gonna get this one thing from me.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with her leaving the show. It's very toxic. She didn't belong on the show anyways, to be honest. So it's like she's leaving something that wasn't really meant for her. And if that makes sense, like I don't agree with the Apollo and Shereen thing. She just came on really strong, Shereen. So yeah, I don't blame Phaedra for leaving. Deuces to y'all. Because yeah, I agree with everybody else. This show, it is toxic, and I know we always like verge on the line of like toxic and entertainment, but like now we're getting into like weird territory where it's like this is disturbing. This is really disturbing. You have ex-husbands threatening their ex-wives, threatening their new wives. Now you have a new wife threatening the old wife. Like, no. Like, so that's all I really had to say is they do need to make some changes. But yeah, feel better. Talk soon.
Thank you, Lee. Take care. I knew it was Lee in the audience when she asked the question. I was like, I know Lee's voice. I think that's a conversation that we need to have. Do we end the show? But again, one of the things that we've loved about Married to Medicine over the years is the fact that we have these professionals that share not just their lives, but their professions. But I think a lot of people have said the show has gone away from talking a lot about the profession and more so about this drama. And I think after a while of being on reality television for so long, people start self-producing. We've seen it countless times in this last year, from Real Housewives to New York to Married to Medicine. We see it on Salt Lake City, but it worked there in a way. But there's a lot of self-producing. There isn't a lot of original reality television or quality reality television anymore. All right. Miss Bernice is backstage. We're going to bring Miss Bernice up next. Miss Bernice, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire. How you doing? What up, though, everybody?
Hey.
What I got to say? If I ever be on a track team, I want Sweet Tea to be my anchor. You see how fast she took off?
She's a runner. She's a track star.
Yes. And I understand why Phaedra checked his new wife, because you started that relationship when I was pregnant with baby number 2. I was still married to him, and you had no problem in violating the vows of our marriage. And for you to say, don't nobody care about Faye, you've been waiting to say that since they turned you down at Atlanta Housewives. But they said, oh, no, we don't want part of this mess. So I'm going to give my opportunity to tell her. And when you said that, like, okay, there go your 5 seconds of fame. You can go now. With the other ones, Toya, my girl, and I love her, and she was speaking right. And her and Eugene was saying that. We go through this every year. And we make nice, and then we repeat the same thing that we apologize for. So we're not doing anything. And go look at Heavenly's last thing on her YouTube channel.
Which one? The one.
And the one where she was doing good up until she was talking about the treatment, and then she went left. Like, why you go there?
I think she took that video down.
Yeah, go look at it.
I think she took it down, Miss Bernice.
She took it down?
I think so.
Oh, dang, that's messed up. You gonna say what you say? Stand 10 toes in it. Come on now.
I don't know if she set the reminder if she's going live today, but I think she needs a break.
Yes, you do need a break, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
She's self-producing too much. but that's her true nature.
All right, Miss.
I want to see her exes lined up in there.
Oh, no. No, you want to see her sister come on the show.
Yes.
All right, Miss Bernice, have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a good one.
Bye. All right, we're going to get to some more callers, guys. We have Tyler backstage. We're going to bring Tyler up next. Tyler, what did you want to share about Married to Medicine?
Hi, Kempire. So I want to say this, and in no way am I saying that Sweet Tea should be treated the way that she's being treated. But it's hard for me to have sympathy for her because let's just be real. No one walking God's green earth without watching this show is checking for Dr. Greg. You were a fan of this show. You saw what him and Quad went through. You felt as though what Quad was saying was not truthful, which, to be fair, a lot of us felt like she plays a part in it as well. Not excusing the things that he has done. And I think that's what people are not hearing. We're not saying that he should have done anything that he's done to her. We're just saying Quad is not an innocent person either. So just that on that, to be clear. But what I'm saying is you sought after Dr. Greg. You were a fan of this show. So the things that are coming down to you have to be very careful what you put into the universe because you have to get them back. Just being for real. You were a fan of this show and that's what you wanted and you got exactly what you wanted. Now, I hope that you leave. Heavenly. I liked Heavenly at first, but I have to say this. Heavenly gives me the girl that was never had friends. Oh, I'm sorry. Just real quick. She never had friends, never was accepted, anything. And I think that this group of women is the first time that she's had a group of friends and she slips up and her true colors is showing. That's why she goes overboard, tries to be messy and things like this. And you're overprotecting Quad's feelings because you really don't want that smoke because you Jackie and Simone played a part in bringing Sweet Tea on this show. And you know, the moment that you allow Sweet Tea to talk in front of Quad and she says that Quad is going to turn to you. And that's the smoke you don't want. You couldn't handle Mariah and you can't handle Quad. So you're trying your hardest to keep that off of you because you know Quad does not care. She will go after you, Jackie, or Simone and does not care about your little mean girl club. Phaedra, last but not least, Phaedra, you finally got in front of a group of women who are not willing to play dumb like you played with Portia. You cannot manipulate them and play games. So now they're mean girls. You're a mean girl too. You string Portia along like the little idiot and gullible person that she is, and you can't do that with these women. Checkmate. That's that on that. You told Apollo to come. Apollo played games and brought his wife, and those women laughed at you. Now you're embarrassed and you want to go over there to Housewives of Atlanta. Goodbye. That's all.
All right. Thanks, Tyler. Bye. We have Born to Win backstage. We're going to bring Born to Win up next. Born to Win, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
Good. Okay, so a few things. Yes, I do. I love the way Phaedra left. I'm not a Phaedra fan. I'll be very honest because I'm Team Candy just from season 9. I did not like that whole thing. So since then, never been a fan of hers. But I love the way she left. I love how she left Jackie standing there. She said, "Is this how you want to go?" She said, "I do." And I was like, perfect. Definitely, Jackie, one thing I do not like about how they go about their support, in quote, they went above and beyond to bring Sweet Tea on the show. If you guys thought he was such an abusive man, why was you encouraging them as a couple to come on the show? As grown married women who have been married for years, and if you've seen this young girl putting herself in a space that you think is not going to be healthy for her mentally, emotionally, and possibly physically, why would you encourage her to come onto national television with this man again to put her in the spotlight in that manner? Says a lot about their characters. And now you want to come online and say, oh, you feel bad after you have now gone back and forth with her and pretty much encourage them as a couple to be together and attack them as a couple as well. Okay. And then now you want to defend her online. Doesn't make sense to me. Okay. So anyways, I know I'm over my time. So
thanks, Born to Win. Take care.
Bye. You too.
All right, we're going to get to a couple more callers. We have O'Shea backstage. I'm going to bring O'Shea up next. O'Shea, what did you want to share about Married to Medicine?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I wanted to say, It took Phaedra almost a decade to sort out her relationship with Bravo. She didn't just leave without having the contract already signed. I mean, you clocked the jet picture very well. And had Candy announced that she wasn't coming back earlier, Phaedra wouldn't even come on this season. She knows what she's doing. Even with the reunion, she already told Andy and all ahead of time she's not coming. She wouldn't risk after all the years it took to fix her relationships with everyone. She wouldn't play with them.
Yep.
Yeah, she wouldn't, and she knows. And then just one thing about Simone, Heavenly, and Friends, they really need to start having contracts with time limits on them, like a 4-year time limit. This happens when you keep the same group of people. It's been a decade. Nothing is going on. The new women don't last because they just shove them out, and new blood never comes in. But this is like across the board for all the housewife fans. They really need to start giving them like maybe 4-year contracts. If you perform, maybe add another 2, but 6 max. Like there's no reason at all you need to be for 10 years on a show. But thanks, Kempire.
Thanks, O'Shea. Take care. All right, we have Rashawn backstage. We're going to bring Rashawn up next. Rashawn, what did you want to share about Married to Medicine?
Hello, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
Good. Heading back to Atlanta from Huntsville.
How is Huntsville treating you?
Huntsville was okay. It was not what I was expecting because I'm used to the Atlanta life. But yeah, it was a little bit different. But I had a good time. Let me start off with Phaedra. I'm just going to put it out there. She got her comeuppance. Let's just put it out there because Nene had already told us about Phaedra years ago. And also, she still hasn't taken accountability for what she did to Candy. And to be around these educated women, she got her comeuppance because they are much brighter and smarter than she is. Okay. Now, Dr. G, I really wanted to punch him in the face. The way that he was talking to his wife. I have 5 sisters myself, and I'm the second born, and none of their spouses have talked to them like that. And for a grown man to talk to Sweet Tea like that, that was totally unacceptable. And to downgrade her because of the fact that she was a woman and she was in combat. And I know about that too because I met Sweet Tea at my base, and she was a sweet girl. And it was very unacceptable for him to just gaslight his wife. And even though Quad did play a huge part into their relationship as well, she's not all innocent. I love Quad. However, this was way out of line. So, yeah, that's how I feel about this episode. Dr. G needs to get serious counseling. For him to be a psychiatrist, I wouldn't go to him or I wouldn't refer anybody in the Atlanta area to him because his behavior was very unacceptable.
Yeah, and that's a risk you take by going on a reality show when you have a full-on career.
Risky. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, Rashawn.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. We have Tracy backstage. We're going to bring Tracy up next. Tracy, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire. How are you?
I'm well. How are you today?
Good. I'm doing so good. I don't know if you remember me from the last time trying to get you over here to Dallas, but here I am again.
Trying to get me to Dallas.
Let me tell you something, because the Metroplex is like, the Dallas Metroplex area is like, that in itself is bigger than most big cities. I'm just trying to get you over here. I don't know.
I want to come.
And I want you to. Okay, so let me go. Also, I just wanted to let you know, so my best friend, she was murdered in 2007 by her baby's father. She was 7 months pregnant.
Whoa.
And I blamed myself for a long time because I said, there should have been more signs that I should have known about. I didn't know it was this bad, that bad. They say that no matter what's going on, we should always assume that it's worse than what we just think. Because the person being abused, first of all, they have a level of shame and insecurity that the abuser has put up on them to now where they feel like they don't really matter. I read her diary after she passed, and I couldn't even believe she was feeling that way.
Wow.
Beautiful girl. I mean, she had dated Dallas Cowboys. I mean, a beautiful girl. He withered her down to nothing within 2 years.
Wow.
And took her life. And so I just want to say, I do not like Dr. G. I wish somebody would call the board on him to be a doctor of the mind and use mind manipulation the way he does is terrifying.
Yeah.
So all I can say is I'm Team Quad or whatever, only because I feel like she's been vindicated. We see how he is and all of that. And so her boyfriend, I'm sure him knowing these stories about Dr. G, he felt overprotective in the moment and probably overreacted. But anyways, love you. I love what you do. And I'll try to come back soon for a live.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Look, Chris says, no, come to Houston. I think I should do both. I think I should do both because I feel like we have quite a few people that would come in Houston and quite a few people that would come to the Dallas show. Conversations are being had, okay? Nothing's set in stone, but if you know a promoter, email me, Instagram. All right. We have Malaysia. Malaysia will be our last caller just because now I am tired, y'all. Y'all probably saw my energy go from to now it's like, okay, I gotta go. All right, Malaysia, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire. So I'm actually at the beginning of the live. I'm part of the replay crew, but I just had to call in because you said something that stuck out to me. It seems like every year there's something to work on with the group, and it's always Simone who says it. I just hear her voice. We have to fix the group, get the group back together again. And it makes me look at the group as a whole differently because we know that they have meetings before the season. Yeah. So I guess in my mind, it's like, what are the meetings about? And do you self-sabotage the group to have something to work on each season? So I don't know. That was just a thought that I had. I just feel like I should call in and say it. So yeah.
Thank you, Malaysia, for calling in.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I mean, look, as I was saying before, I feel as if with reality television now, and we've seen it so much with the Bravo stars, people self-producing, people trying to create drama to distract from what might be going on in their lives, or maybe they have nothing going on in their lives, but they know they want to keep this show going. They want to keep a check, and I feel like that's what's going on with Dr. Heavenly. She wants to keep the show going. It's a nice check for all of them, but I do think on some level there needs to be a revamp to the cast. I'm not saying it needs to be a complete reboot, but there definitely needs to be a revamp or a refocus because now we've gone into this place of toxicity that was already toxic when they were originally on the show, and now we're back here reliving all of that. And I think some people are triggered that have had their own issues with abuse. And what we saw with Dr. Gregory and Sweet Tea was very uncomfortable to watch. But that is what's really going on with them. And I do wish Sweet Tea the best. And I'm sure, because I think Sweet Tea's doing a recap with Dr. Gregory. Well, now they've got their story together versus what we actually got in the moment. That what happened in this week's episode wasn't the first time. God only knows how bad it actually gets when the cameras and mics are not there. But we saw how he spoke to her in Key West when he was arguing with Quad, but now he's arguing with Sweet Tea. And it's like, why are you turning on Sweet Tea? She's trying to be your teammate here, and you're getting mad with her. And again, you're supposed to be the older person. You're supposed to be the psychiatrist. And again, I know he's human, but you should have better coping skills than anyone on this cast. As I said at the top of this recap, I feel like Dr. Mimi comes in and you can tell that she is a psychiatrist. You can tell that she's very cognizant in regards to how she addresses people when it comes to observing people. I've never gotten that energy from Dr. Gregory. I've never thought to myself, oh, you know what? He probably might be a good psychiatrist. No, if anything, what we saw in this particular episode is him weaponizing his mind manipulation. So I don't know what they need to do for Married to Medicine, but what we're currently having when it comes to the Quad versus Dr. Gregory and all that stuff, I am not interested in what's going on over there because they need to get help that we cannot provide. Amit, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. We appreciate your support. Make sure you guys, if you were gifted a membership from Amit, to say thank you. Nash says, at this point, Kempire After Dark attendees need an NDA. I agree. Oriel, thank you so much for another super chat and for being a member. It says, Toronto loves Kempire. I hope you have a live show here in 2025. We're trying because Toronto is probably, of all the countries, not Toronto, but Canada is second to the U.S. in regards to the people that watch the channel. So, yes, I do need to do that. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to everyone that sent in a super chat, a Venmo, a Cash App, whatever it may be. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitch and Twitter and on TikTok. Thank you to all of you that called in. We appreciate the support. If you're part of the replay crew, we understand busy. Life keeps you busy. Be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on this week's episode of Married to Medicine. And if you missed it, we were live to recap the Real Housewives of Potomac earlier today with our friends Layla Lynn and Grace Report. So be sure to check that out if you missed it. And yesterday we were live with DJ Richie Sky talking about traveling while Black. And then last night we went live again to talk about Karen's DUIs and to talk about Dr. Heavenly and her homophobic comments. It will be interesting to see if she addresses that today on her live, because she did issue an apology. But I said yesterday, you need to get on a video and do the same thing, the same way that you spewed that hate on video. You need to get on video and correct it and apologize. But I'd much rather you actually take a hot second and really reflect and then apologize, as opposed to, I didn't mean it like that. Okay. You know what you meant. And a lot of us that have been watching you for a long time, we're not so completely surprised at all. Just saying. All right. Thank you all for being here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. I will see you all in the next one, whenever that may be. That'll probably be Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I probably won't have a Tuesday takeover tomorrow because I just don't know how I'll feel tomorrow. So I'd much rather rest up today and be full ready for Wednesday, right? You agree? Yes. And for those that have been wanting me to come to your city, if you do know of promoters, this will help make the job a little bit easier. Email me. Hit the my Instagram for my management's email and send those contacts there, and maybe we can get something going in a city near you to bring the Kempire After Dark live experience there. Thank you to everyone that came to the show here in New York City, and thank you to those of you that watched via the live stream. If anything, those of you that came to the show, we had like 4 or 5 times that watching via the live stream. So we appreciate those of you that watched around the country and around the world. So thank you. And of course, thank you to everyone that I got to meet at the show. And of course, the Brooke Ashley for co-hosting the event with us. So everyone, have a great rest of your day. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.